You don't get paid for what you need, you get paid for the value you become. Jim Rohn used to say, your income rarely exceeds your personal development. That is not poetry. That is a law, and laws do not bend for excuses. Look around. Two people in the same city, same age, same starting point. 10 years later, one is drowning in bills, the other is investing in assets. What changed? Not destiny, habits. The world does not reward effort. It rewards leverage. It rewards discipline. It rewards perception. And the first habit that decides your income level is how you think about value. Most people trade time for money. The wealthy trade value for money. Time is limited. Value can multiply. If you walk into the marketplace asking, how many hours can I sell? You will always be capped. But if you ask, what problem can I solve at scale? Your income ceiling begins to crack. The Stoics understood this thousands of years ago. Marcus Aurelius wrote about focusing only on what is within your control. Your skills are within your control. Your discipline is within your control. Your learning is within your control. The market's mood is not. Inflation is not. Politics is not. When you obsess over what you can't control, you weaken your earning power. When you master what you can control, you increase your market value. But there is a deeper, more dangerous truth we haven't touched yet. Most people don't actually want to increase their value. They want comfort, and comfort is expensive. The first habit is relentless self-education, not casual scrolling, not motivational videos, deliberate study. High-income earners study like their life depends on it, because it does. They read when others relax. They practice when others procrastinate. They refine their craft when others complain. In the industrial age, muscles decided income. In the information age, knowledge does. And in the digital age, applied knowledge does. Information alone is worthless, execution is rare, and rarity is valuable. If you spend 5 years mastering a skill that only 5% of people are willing to master, you enter a smaller arena. Competition drops, income rises. But most people quit at year 1. They want year 5 rewards with year 1 discipline. Jim Rohn would ask, why should someone pay you more? It's a brutal question, but it forces growth. If you cannot answer it clearly, the marketplace already has. And here's the second habit that decides your income: delayed gratification. You cannot build wealth with an impatient mind. You cannot compound income with a consumption addiction. Every dollar you spend to impress people who don't care is a soldier you kill in your financial army. Look at ancient Rome. Empires did not fall in a day. They decayed through indulgence. Comfort softened them. The same happens to individuals. When your lifestyle grows faster than your skills, collapse is only a matter of time. High earners live below their means before they live above them. They invest before they celebrate. They endure short-term discomfort for long-term authority, but most people reverse the order. They celebrate before they earn. They upgrade before they stabilize. They borrow against a future that hasn't arrived. And here's the psychological truth. Discipline is painful at first, but regret is far more expensive. The pain of saving is temporary. The pain of debt is chronic. But there is a third layer beneath this, a layer most people avoid because it demands self-confrontation. The third habit that decides your income is your relationship with responsibility. Low earners blame. High earners adjust. Blame feels powerful. It protects your ego. The system is broken. The boss is unfair. The economy is down. Maybe all of that is true, but it changes nothing. Responsibility, on the other hand, is heavy. It says, what can I do differently? Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher born a slave, taught that you may not control what happens to you, but you control how you respond. That mindset creates income power, because if every setback becomes feedback, you evolve faster than those who sulk. In every industry, there are people who complain and people who capitalize. The complainers gather sympathy, the capitalizers gather assets. And here is the retention of reality. If you cannot carry responsibility, you cannot carry wealth. because wealth magnifies who you already are. If you are chaotic, money will amplify chaos. If you are disciplined, money will amplify freedom. But there is a deeper, more dangerous truth we haven't touched yet. Income is not just about what you do. It is about who knows what you do. The fourth habit that decides your income is strategic visibility. You may be talented, you may be skilled, but if nobody knows, you are invisible. An invisible value gets ignored. In ancient marketplaces, merchants shouted, not because they were arrogant, because silence meant starvation. Today, shouting is replaced by branding, networking, communication. The highest earners understand perception. You don't need to be loud, but you must be clear. Clear about your expertise, clear about your results, clear about your standards. Many people believe that good work speaks for itself. That is a comforting lie. Good work must be presented, documented, communicated, positioned. Social dynamics matter. Humans are tribal. We trust what we see repeatedly. We reward familiarity. If your name never enters rooms of opportunity, your income cannot follow. This is not manipulation, it is strategy. The Stoics would call it wisdom in action, understanding human nature without being corrupted by it. But here's the trap. Visibility without substance is fragile. Substance without visibility is invisible. You need both. And just when you think that's enough, there's another layer most people ignore. The fifth habit that decides your income is emotional control. Money flows towards stability. Leaders who earn more are not the smartest in the room. They are often the calmest. When markets crash, the emotional panic sellers lose. The disciplined buyers gain. When negotiations heat up, the reactive person concedes. The composed person calculates. If your emotions dictate your decisions, your income will always fluctuate with your mood. Think about it. How many opportunities have you lost because you were offended? Because you reacted too quickly? Because your pride needed protection? High-income individuals master the pause. They don't rush to speak. They don't rush to spend. They don't rush to quit. Jim Rohn said, "Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better." Emotional resilience is becoming better internally so that external storms don't drown you. But there is a deeper, more dangerous truth we haven't touched yet. Your income is directly tied to the problems you are willing to solve. The sixth habit is seeking bigger problems. Most people avoid problems. Wealthy individuals pursue them because bigger problems equal bigger paydays. A company will not pay you $10,000 a month to solve a $1,000 problem. If you want to increase your income, increase the scale of problems you can handle. This requires courage because bigger problems come with higher stakes, more pressure, more responsibility. In history, generals were paid more than soldiers, not because they worked harder physically, but because their decisions carried greater consequence. Consequence increases compensation. Ask yourself, are you running toward complexity or hiding from it? If you only want tasks that feel safe, your income will remain safe, and safe rarely means wealthy. But here's the subtle twist. Solving bigger problems demands a stronger identity, which leads to the seventh and most powerful habit. Your self-image. You will never earn consistently beyond what you believe you deserve. If deep down you see yourself as average, you will sabotage extraordinary opportunities. You will undercharge, you will hesitate. You will shrink in rooms where you should expand. Self-image is invisible, but it shapes behavior, and behavior shapes income. In psychology, this is called the thermostat principle. If the temperature rises above your set point, the system pulls it back down. If your income rises above your internal belief, you unconsciously bring it back to familiar levels. So how do you raise the set point? Through repetition, through evidence, through surrounding yourself with higher standards. Jim Rohn famously said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." If everyone around you normalizes mediocrity, wealth will feel abnormal. And humans resist feeling abnormal. Change your circle, not because you are better, but because you want to become better. But there is a deeper, more dangerous truth we haven't touched yet. These 7 habits are interconnected. Break one and the others weaken. Strengthen one and the others reinforce. Relentless self-education increases your ability to solve bigger problems. Delayed gratification fuels investment in skills. Responsibility sharpens emotional control. Visibility amplifies value. A stronger self-image attracts bigger rooms. Income is not random, it is patterned. And habits create patterns. Now let me confront you gently but directly. If your income has not changed in 3 years, your habits likely haven't either. Growth requires discomfort. It requires auditing your day with brutal honesty. How many hours are spent producing versus consuming? How much money is invested versus displayed? How often do you react versus respond? The marketplace is neutral. It does not hate you. It does not favor you. It responds to value signals. Increase the signal and response increases. But here's the retention loop you must not ignore. There is still one more layer beneath everything we discussed. Time. Time is the silent multiplier of all habits. Two people can start the same habit. One quits after 6 months. The other continues for 6 years. The difference in income becomes exponential. Compounding is not just financial, it is behavioral. A daily hour of focused improvement becomes 365 hours a year. Over 5 years, that is 1,125 hours. Nearly a master's degree worth of self-directed expertise. Most people underestimate what 5 years of obsession can produce because they are addicted to 5 days of excitement. If you commit to these 7 habits not for a season, but for a decade, your income will struggle to remain the same, and yet the world will tempt you to drift, to scroll, to spend, to compare, to complain. Drifting is easy. Discipline is rare, and rarity is valuable. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine 2 futures. In one, you continue as you are. Minor improvements, occasional motivation, reactive decisions, comfortable circle. 5 years pass, your income inches forward, inflation eats the difference, frustration grows quietly. In the other future, you become deliberate. You read daily, you invest consistently, you take responsibility aggressively, you build visibility strategically, you master your emotions, you chase bigger problems, you reshape your identity. 5 years pass, your income does not inch, it leaps, not because of luck, but because of compounded habits. But understand this, the goal is not money alone. Money is a scoreboard. It reflects value delivered. It reflects discipline practiced. It reflects problems solved. Chasing money directly often leads to shortcuts. Chasing growth leads to income as a byproduct. And here's the final truth most people resist. You cannot outperform your daily routine. Not your dreams, not your intentions, your routine. If your mornings are chaotic, your finances will mirror chaos. If your schedule lacks structure, your income will lack stability. Design your day like an architect designs a building, with intention, with purpose, with long-term durability in mind. Wake with direction, work with focus, learn with hunger, spend with strategy, rest with gratitude. Repeat. That repetition is not boring. It is powerful. It is how empires are built. Slowly, quietly, intentionally. And when doubt creeps in, remember this: someone with less talent but stronger habits will out-earn someone with more talent but weaker discipline. Talent opens doors, habits keep them open. Now I want you to confront a simple but uncomfortable question. If your income doubled in the next 2 years, which habit would have made it possible? Identify it, strengthen it, obsess over it. Because transformation does not require 7 massive changes at once. It requires 1 disciplined shift repeated relentlessly. The world does not owe you a high income, but it will pay you for high value. So build value. Guard your time like it is gold, because it is. Protect your focus like it is fragile, because it is. Train your mind like it is a weapon, because it is. And never forget, your income is not an accident, it is a reflection. If you don't like the reflection, don't smash the mirror. Improve the image. Start today. Not when conditions are perfect, not when motivation strikes. Motivation is unreliable. Discipline is dependable. Commit to the habits quietly. Let the results speak loudly. Because 5 years from now, you will either thank yourself or question yourself, and the choice begins with a single decision. To stop believing your income is decided by your job, your degree, your country, your luck, and to finally accept that it has always been decided by your habits. You've heard the 7 habits, but knowing them is not the same as living them. Information changes nothing. Implementation changes everything. And the difference between average earners and high earners is not intelligence. It is integration. So let's integrate. The first habit we spoke about was relentless self-education. But here is the uncomfortable extension of that truth. Most people consume information as entertainment, not as ammunition. They watch motivational videos, they read business books, they highlight quotes, but they never convert ideas into skills. High-income individuals treat learning like a weapon. They ask one question after every lesson. How do I apply this within 24 hours? Knowledge without execution is intellectual obesity. You feel full, but you are weak. The Stoics practiced daily reflection. Seneca would review his day each night and ask himself where he failed, where he improved, and where he could sharpen his character. That habit created inner wealth long before outer wealth. You want higher income? Build a daily review system. At the end of each day, ask, what did I do today that increased my market value? If the answer is nothing, the market will respond accordingly. But there is a deeper, more dangerous truth we haven't touched yet. You are not paid for effort. You are paid for outcomes. You can work 12 hours a day and still remain underpaid if your output does not move the needle. The marketplace does not reward busyness. It rewards impact. This is why the second layer of self-education is strategic skill selection. Stop trying to learn everything. Learn what pays: communication, sales, negotiation, leadership, technology, financial literacy. These are high leverage skills. They multiply other skills. If you are a brilliant technician but cannot communicate your value, you will be out-earned by someone less skilled but more articulate. Jim Rohn said, learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. That means sharpening the skills that travel with you, not just the tasks tied to your current position. Because jobs change, industries shift, but skills compound. And here's the truth most people avoid. If your income is stuck, your skill stack is probably outdated. Now let's talk about delayed gratification at a more advanced level. It's not just about saving money. It's about delaying ego rewards. You want recognition. You want validation. You want to feel important. But high earners often stay silent while they build. They let results mature before they announce them. In ancient warfare, generals did not reveal strategy before the battle. They prepared quietly. They positioned carefully. They struck decisively. Most people do the opposite. They announce goals prematurely, they celebrate before achieving, and when applause fades, so does their discipline. There is power in private preparation. If you can train yourself to enjoy the process without broadcasting it, your focus intensifies, your patience strengthens, your results deepen. But there is a deeper, more dangerous truth we haven't touched yet. The world is full of distractions specifically engineered to hijack your income potential. Your phone is not neutral. Social media is not neutral. Every scroll is a trade. You are trading attention for stimulation. Attention is currency. And where your attention goes, your income follows. If your attention is scattered, your income will be unstable. High-income individuals guard their mornings fiercely. They don't begin the day consuming other people's priorities. They begin by advancing their own. You wake up, and within minutes you are pulled into messages, notifications, headlines. Before you have built momentum for yourself, you are reacting to the world. Reaction does not build wealth. Creation does. Ask yourself honestly, how many prime hours have been surrendered to distraction this year? Now imagine redirecting just one focused hour per day toward a high-income skill. Writing, coding, studying markets, building systems, improving sales scripts. 1 hour per day is 365 hours per year. Over 3 years, that is over 1,000 hours. That is transformation territory. But discipline is lonely. And here lies another income-deciding habit: your tolerance for temporary isolation. When you start changing, your circle may not understand. They may mock your new discipline. They may question your ambition, not because they hate you, but because your growth highlights their stagnation. If you retreat to comfort, your income retreats with you. Growth often requires strategic distance. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet constantly reminded himself not to be influenced by the noise of the crowd. He understood that leadership requires internal clarity. If you want to earn more, you must think differently. And thinking differently will temporarily make you feel different, but there is a deeper, more dangerous truth we haven't touched yet. Money amplifies your strengths and exposes your weaknesses. If you lack structure now, more money will not fix it. If you lack discipline now, a higher salary will not save you. This is why emotional control is not optional, it is foundational. Let's go further into that. When negotiations happen, the person who needs the deal more loses leverage. If you are financially desperate, you negotiate from fear. If you have reserves, you negotiate from strength. That is why building an emergency fund is not just financial advice, it is psychological armor. 3 to 6 months of expenses saved can transform how you walk into conversations. It changes your posture, your tone, your decisions. Confidence backed by preparation increases income potential. But confidence without competence is arrogance, and arrogance repels opportunity. So balance both. Now let's confront the sixth habit again, seeking bigger problems. Here's the nuance. Bigger problems require bigger thinking. If you are paid $3,000 a month, your thinking is likely centered around tasks. If you want $10,000 a month, you must think in terms of systems. If you want $50,000 a month, you must think in terms of strategy and scale. Tasks trade time, systems multiply time. A worker completes assignments. A system builder creates processes that work without constant supervision. Income rises when your value becomes scalable. Can your work impact 10 people, 100 people, 10,000 people? The digital age has removed many ceilings, but it has not removed the need for excellence. And here's the truth most people resist. Scaling mediocrity only creates larger mediocrity. Before you scale, refine. Before you advertise, improve. Before you expand, stabilize. But there is a deeper, more dangerous truth we haven't touched yet. Your identity will fight to remain consistent. If you have always been the average one, earning more may feel uncomfortable. You may downplay achievements. You may procrastinate on big opportunities. You may subconsciously sabotage progress. Why? Because the brain values familiarity over success. To break this, you must rehearse your future identity. Visualize yourself operating at a higher level, speaking with clarity, managing larger sums, leading teams, making strategic decisions. The Stoics practiced negative visualization, imagining loss to build gratitude and resilience. You can practice positive rehearsal, imagining growth to build readiness. Identity shapes behavior, behavior shapes results, results shape income. Now let me challenge you directly. If I followed you for 30 days, observed your mornings, your spending, your conversations, your screen time, your reading habits, your circle, could I predict your income? Yes, I could. Because income leaves clues, and so do habits. Your car payments, your subscriptions, your calendar, your bookmarks, they all whisper the truth about your priorities. High earners are intentional, low earners are reactive. Intentional living feels restrictive at first. Budgeting, scheduling, saying no, but those boundaries create freedom. Just like a river without banks becomes a swamp, money without structure becomes chaos. Now here is the final layer most people never reach. Gratitude, yes, gratitude. Not as a soft emotional concept, but as a stabilizing force. When you are constantly dissatisfied, you chase money with desperation. When you are grounded in gratitude, you pursue growth with clarity. Gratitude removes panic, and panic destroys decision-making. The Stoics would remind themselves daily that life is temporary, that possessions are temporary, that status is temporary. This perspective sharpened their focus. You don't own your wealth. You manage it temporarily. This mindset reduces arrogance when income rises and reduces despair when it falls. Stable mind, stable strategy, stable income growth. And now, as we approach the end of this journey, I want you to understand something critical. These 7 habits are not hacks. They are disciplines. They do not produce overnight miracles. They produce long-term inevitability. If you apply them consistently for 5 years, your income will not recognize its former self. But if you ignore them, 5 years will pass anyway, time will move. The question is whether you will, so here's your call to action. Not dramatic, not flashy, but powerful. Choose one habit tonight, just one. Maybe it's waking up 1 hour earlier to study. Maybe it's cutting unnecessary expenses and investing the difference. Maybe it's practicing negotiation. Maybe it's building your personal brand. Maybe it's journaling to sharpen responsibility. Choose one and commit for 90 days. No announcement, no validation, no applause, just discipline. Track it, measure it, refine it. Because your income does not change when you feel motivated. It changes when you become consistent.